jollof ready?
These your people.
The area must be for kudos!
The jollof is ready.
Sakura.
I'll be right there.
Sorry, the pepper from the jollof.
Thompson, it's been an emergency. We need to step out for a bit.
Oh,
5 more minutes.
hey, Mrs. Afri, can we get some takeaway packs?
This Christmas, it's giving the best in entertainment on DSTV. Grab a DSTV decoder or reconnect to your existing subscription and be entertained.
Now this is giving. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Situation Room. My name is Vivian Kai. Look, today I will be the captain of the ship, hoping to take you through all the towns and countries you need to go through in political terms for this edition. In the studio with me, I have Sami Uyafe. He is with us at Channel 1 TV as well as City 97.3 FM. Sami, welcome.
Hi, Vivian. Hi.
And later we'll have Musa Dankwa, the man behind the Global Info Analytics, to take us through how he got it right with most of his polls, among others. And then we'll do a bit of the transitions as well. But Sami, welcome.
Thank you, Vivian.
It's been a busy day for you. You have been to the Jubilee House, right?
Yes.
Where the president-elect met with the outgoing president. Yes. As they prepare for a new dispensation. What were the key things there? I saw the videos of the two gentlemen, and then of course, where is Dr. Baumi? I saw the vice candidate, now incoming vice president, Professor Nana Jane there, but I didn't see Baumi. Do we know where he is?
It was the same question, journalists were asking about his presence in this particular important exercise, and we're told that because it's a transition, he's not really involved. Because the president is the one involved. It's the president who is handing over. Okay. It is just why the president who is present. Okay. So the more reason why he wasn't present at this particular meeting. But for the side of the incoming president, he has to come with his vice president. Or the vice president, because elected vice president. So, but for the outgoing, it wasn't really necessary for the vice president because the president was the main guy who was going to deal with it. So they came in at 11 a.m. As expected, because the president had told Mr. Mahama to be there by 11 a.m. Okay. They were there exactly 11 a.m. And so the two leaders, the president, ushered in Mr. Mahama, who is not new to the Jubilee House. And so, they welcome each other. Mr. Mahama's delegation included the co-chair of the transition team, Mr. Julius Debra, a former chief of staff under former President Mahama, now president-elect. The national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, was present at this important meeting. Dr. Valerie Sawyer, I guess that's her name. She was also part, and she's a member of the transition team. Alex Segbefia was also in there, and a few other leading members of the NDC. On the side of government, the chief of staff, who is also a co-chair of the transition team, was also present, and some ministers of state were also present for this meeting. So when the two leaders came in, they had to go to, there's a room at the Jubilee House called the ceremonial room. So they had a few, conversations for the camera, and then after that, they asked that the cameras should be excused. So only the two of them could have, some kind of deep conversation. So the entire process lasted for like 30 minutes. And after they came out to meet the press, and, they had to tell journalists present what really transpired at the meeting. President Akufo-Addo was first to speak, and he said he was excited to see Mr. Mahama back to the Jubilee House. And first of all, congratulated him for such a decisive victory in the December 7th election. And also told journalists that, he briefed the president on the current situation of the country, security both internally and externally, and also the state of the Ghanaian economy and other things that needed to be heard. And he was appealing to Mr. President to ensure that Mr. President-elect to ensure that recent developments in the country about, the takeover of public institutions by some persons perceived to be NDC supporters to stop. And then Mr. Mahama also said that, the president is still the one in charge. And so we should ensure that, the law applies. And if anyone goes against the law, that should be done. So it was a very cordial meeting, maximum 30 minutes after they exchanged pleasantries, and then they left to their various offices. So, Vivian, later today at 4 p.m., the transition team, proper, will be inaugurated by the two presidents. And then they will begin work. On the side of government, you have the Interior Minister, Henry Korte, you have the Defense Minister, Dominic Nito, you have the Local Government Minister, Martin J. Mensah-Kosa, you have the Chief of Staff, who is the co-chair of the transition team, and you have the head of the civil service, the secretary to cabinet, and some other key government officials.
So you have the likes of the finance minister,
the finance minister,
to be there, of course, the numbers. And then you have Shirley Ayokoboche,
foreign minister
as well. And then, of course, Martin Ajay Mensah-Kosa,
local government minister.
Has his seat been?
It's still in contention. It's still in contention.
Because that place was in flames.
Last 4 years, that's where we recorded the death of 8 people. And so, remember when he was, nominated for ministerial appointment, it was something the appointment committee was very heavy on. And this year too, it looks like there's another confusion.
I saw we did, on TNR and others where some supporters of the two sides, I believe, they burnt the pink sheets, the ballot papers, and even attacked the police station. The glasses and all that were shattered. So very volatile in that area. And then, of course, we have National Security Minister Albert Kandapa, and then others, including, I think you mentioned the civil service, local government,
Professor
and then secretary to the cabinet is part of that.
Yeah, she's supposed to be there.
And then the National Security Coordinator himself, Edward Asumani. So a pretty heavily loaded one from the MPP side.
And then the president also appointed Professor Michael Quay to be an advisor. When it comes to these things. On the side of the NDC, former Speaker Dua Jao was also in there. So it was a very simple meeting, or a simple meeting, if you put it that way. Quiet, two statements, exchanging pleasantries. The president told a story of how he's known Mr. Mahama for the past 12 years. For the past 20 years, and they met in Parliament, and since then they've known each other for all these years, and they've been very good friends, and told a number of stories, things they share in common, when they were in Parliament and the rest. So at 4 p.m. we'll be looking forward to this inauguration of this committee, where the co-chairpersons will be the Chief of Staff, Freeman Oseo Pare, and Mr. Julius Debra, a former Chief of Staff under John Mahama. Okay, let's bring viewers, listeners who hear the sound on radio, but videos of what transpired today at the Jubilee House between the president-elect and then also outgoing president of the Republic of Ghana.
Important that I have this meeting with him and members of his delegation for two things. First of all, obviously, to congratulate him on his remarkable victory, to wish him and his administration the very best of luck. We have, for the first time in our life, a female vice president of the country, and that is a matter that should be celebrated by all of us. And then secondly, to assure him of my full support and that of my government over the transitional process and afterwards, to make sure that his administration takes off in the best of conditions. It is in the interest of all of us as Ghanaians that should happen.
Mr. President has given me a brief on the security situation, both internal and external, and also a short brief on issues to do with the economy. Of course, the transitional teams will drill down further into these matters, but I am happy at the assurance he's giving us that we're going to work together in the interest of Ghana to ensure a seamless transition. And I believe that even after that transition, it will be necessary for us to continue to keep a channel of communication so that Ghana's democratic credentials are consolidated and we all work together in the national interest.
So that's President-elect John Mahama. Earlier, you saw outgoing President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I like it when I see the name. It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful, Vivian.
That's Ghanaian.
And
you
so could see the statesmanship among them,
Yes.
holding hands at a point, having
but usually Sammy starts like this.
But
by the time we are midway. So we are hoping this time around, as it started so beautifully. I mean, I saw the pictures when they were taking the pictures together, and then John beckoned Nana Jane to join
them.
Nana was teasing.
Yes, and they wanted Jane to be in the middle, but then Jane said, "I've code. I'll give you code if you allow me in there."
So it was so beautiful, and I'm hoping that by the time the transitions are done and the new dispensation takes shape and everything, even when it comes to issues that should be dealt with, whether it's corruption, whether it's ensuring that they did the right thing and those who should have been held accountable, is done in the spirit of Ghanaianness and patriotism, and we forge ahead as a country beautifully.
Definitely.
So at 4, when the inauguration happens proper, we'll take our cameras there and feed you with what you need to see and hear from that committee. So that's with that. Today we'll be looking at the numbers as we started yesterday. We'll look at the polls. If you watch the American elections, a lot of polls, at the time, some said this will happen, some said those who went for Kamala, those who went for Trump. In the end, we saw who, happened. Same with Ghana. There were 2 major ones, that of Musa and the other of Smart, and then a few others around. And
a few international ones as well.
Yes, and a few international ones as well. In the end, it appears the one who got the day was that of Musa. His predictions quite a lot, if not 90% or
85-90%,
went through. 90. What's your reaction to the performance of the
He's done well. He's done well. No 2 ways about that. He's done well. For him to consistently predict that the NDC and John Mahama were going to carry the day, it means he was standing on something.
Yeah.
He knew the job he had done. He knew the kind of interaction his people had with people on the ground. He knew, what was going to happen at the end of the day. Because remember, Musa started this research somewhere in February.
Yeah.
February of this year, and consistently, he was letting Ghanaians know that the election was going to go the way of the NDC and John Dramani Mahama. Even though members of this administration consistently attacked him, sometimes ridiculed his research and the rest. When he appears on the Situation Room, and we discussed the numbers, he was very sure, very, very sure about the numbers. And he knew that indeed, if elections were going to be held on December 7th, they were sure John Mahama was going to carry the day. But what's really shifted a bit was the figures. He had predicted a 52% win for Mr. Mahama. But then it came out to be 56. So that's the only shift in there. But then even with that, Vivian, he had predicted accurately that the NDC and John Mahama was going to win, and it came to pass. But before that, the the Economic Intelligence Unit, which has predicted Ghana elections since 2012, had also predicted that John Mahama and the NDC were going to win. You remember in 2012, the same organization predicted a win for Mahama. In 2016, it predicted a win for Nana Akufo-Addo. In 2020, it continued with the prediction. And all the predictions and the polls that they came across said that they were going to win for the particular presidential candidate they had predicted for. And it did happen. But along the line, there were other research and other polls by Dr. Smart Sapon of the Kumasi Technical University, who also said that he's run, some research and poll also indicating that there will be a win for Dr. Baumia, but he may not cross the 50%, but he may get around 49. And he had done a sample size of, I think, 19,000 or 20,000, and he was very confident of this going to pass. And he even predicted that in Parliament, the NPP may get majority, in Parliament, and the NDC may struggle. And then there were some seats that was, 50-50, and anybody could go for that seat. But then 7 December came. Madam J. Mensah, announced the results, and this is what we are seeing. It goes then to really, ask people to ask questions about these, polls that come up always when it comes to election. Now, at least Musa Dankwa has proven his worth. When Professor Sapon comes again the next time, will Ghanaians or are Ghanaians going to take him serious? That you predicted an earlier one. Yeah. And this one's about credibility. It's about credibility, Vivian. Musa predicted it came to pass. He scored high credibility. Professor Sapon predicted it didn't come to pass. How will Ghanaians perceive him? How will Ghanaians see him? Will Ghanaians consider him to be...
Is this his first major? I don't remember him... I think 2020 doing any... I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. This is the first time I'm really seeing his...
first major one.
And your first major one, and then you misfire. It questions a lot about the kind of work you did, in this whole thing. Whether you knew what was going to happen, but then you may want to skew towards a certain area. So Musa has earned it, and I'm sure a lot of organizations may be poaching him to do a number of research and other things for them, because he got it right. His prediction came to pass. Okay. It followed a similar one by Fitch Solutions, which also predicted,
Okay, so hold your guns. I'll quickly take viewers and listeners to the headquarters of the MPP, where the General Secretary, Justin Kodua, is addressing the press.
You are supposed to let the people know what is not the kind of country we want to have. This is not the kind of state we want to have as a country. Are we having a revolution in this country? Why should we happen in this manner? So, as the majority indicated, we are waiting to hear from the Electoral Commissioner with its decision on these constituencies. I'll repeat it again. Dome Kwabena, Ablekuma North, Okaikwe Central, Afano North, Afano Southeast, Obuasi East, Akwetia, Suhum, Fantiakwa North, Nsawadriji, Chiman South, and Aworin. And we are calling on the police that, Mr. IGP, the safety of this country is in your hands. Everybody is watching you. Everybody is counting on you. Let your men provide maximum security at all coalition centers so that the officers of the Electoral Commission can do their constitutional duty of making sure we have credible parliamentary candidates elect or members of parliament in our next parliament. So we want to thank you for coming to our office this afternoon. Any adolfo mo a ye share mo ha awie ewo MPP headquarters adukwanti a ye share mo ewo ha ene se sebi kakabentam to trasem a ye nwa mo ADC for mpanifo ashe omomrante no maba.
So the General Secretary of the MPP obviously addressing the press on some incidents we've seen the past 2-3 days where we have alleged supporters of the NDC taking over key institutions violently and blocking roads, the likes of Nsawam and all that. And the president has spoken against it. The incoming president has also condemned it. It's now left with the security officials to take charge and deal with these matters. I mean, we're seeing the MPP reacting to Justin is unhappy, saying, "Is it a revolution for us to see?" Well, I mean, what we are seeing is disgraceful.
It's not the best, Vivian. It's not the best, and we shouldn't encourage it because a particular political party did it years ago doesn't mean we should repeat it. It doesn't make it right. The same institution that you are attacking will employ your people, and you go there and collect money from them. Now, if you destroy that institution, where will your people be employed?
You have left, yeah.
And it's the same taxpayers' money that will be used to fix the same institution. Yeah. And the things you are spelling in there. So I don't really, as we said here yesterday, the president must act. Yeah. He met Mr. Mahama today. That issue came up for discussion. they discuss that particular matter. The president must act and ensure that people who are breaking the law should face the law. Yeah. It's that simple. If you are brave enough to break the law, then be brave enough to face the consequences. That's all. That's all. That's all. It's unacceptable, and we must not encourage it. Because MPP, I've heard justifications that MPP did in 2016. And so if NDC is doing 2024, it is normal. Payback time, do me or do you. We'll encourage this. And if it happens that MPP wins 2028, we will still go back to this same thing, come back to square zero. And as a country, where are we heading towards?
Okay. You know, Afenyo Markin also addressed the press today for the MPP's press conference. Let's take him now.
First of all, it is very right that the NDC, after winning power, will resort threaten party officials and threaten anybody they see as a threat, so-called. In Ablekumanov, for instance, the parliamentary candidate there is under siege. Yesterday, she had a sleepless night. All manner of persons were at her residence in search of pink sheets. The question is, why is the NDC so interested in destroying evidence? Why are they interested in capturing pink sheets to destroy them and set them ablaze? This woman, Madame Ekuya Afriye, had to run for her life. It took the timely intervention of the police to protect her and to drive these NDC hooligans away. Okankwe Central, my respected colleague, Honorable Patrick Boama, is unable to sleep in his house because they are threatening him, thinking that he has a pink sheet at his residence. His constituency chairman is being looked for. His constituency secretary cannot sleep at home. All because they believe that these individuals have pink sheets. Why should a member of parliament fear for his life? All because he's participating in democracy. I would want to call on His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to stop his people, to speak to his party people. This is not democracy. This is not the democracy we've all worked hard for. The hypocrisy is becoming too clear day in, day out. All of us are being threatened. In my own constituency, for instance, they have now come out with a lie, and unfortunately some media personnel are following such lie to the extent that a certain NDC constituency vice chairman cannot be found. It's a lie. They are using that to incite their party foot soldiers to attack MPP members, including my very self. When NDC was in opposition, of course, before the election, they were the ones who were all over fighting for the rights of Ghanaians. Even when a due process in court was being served on them, they cried foul. Today, the NDC leadership pretends that what their party foot soldiers are doing are being done on their blind side. But they are indeed encouraging it. We are calling on civil society to call on the NDC leader
So those are some members of the MPP in terms of the executive, and then you saw the majority leader, outgoing majority leader, Afenyo Mankey. Basically, the presser is about some contentious parliamentary seats and what we've seen in terms of declarations and attacks, among others. So they are calling for the NDC's leader to call others to order. So let me introduce a gentleman who I spoke to you earlier about joining us at a point. We have in the studio Musa Dankwa, head of global research and the lead poster for Global Info Analytics. These days, I'm told you are called prophets. Is that what it is? Or the name still stands?
No, Lotto focus.
But why is there, what do they say? Why is there not rich?
He's a Good Samaritan.
Welcome, Musa.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've received thousands of calls.
I think I have, and I have tried to, not to pick all of them, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But I've done my best to answer most of them, especially those coming from media.
Okay.
But I've also seen a lot of social media reaction, which for me is a vindication of the work we have done over the years.
How did you get it right?
It's not to follow my emotions.
Okay.
And not to put sentiment over the work we do. And to employ a rigor in the way we deploy our methodology and training for people in the field to understand why we are doing what we are doing and the rationale behind following instructions and training guidance.
You know, you prior to the elections happening and then the results coming, I saw some posts on social media where they were attacking you, your what you are using, the what you call it, the method you're using was, you know, flawed and all that. I mean, how we're human beings, things get to us. How did you stay focused and ensure that I know what I'm doing, I'm going to go with it?
It's because, you see, when you're doing political opinion poll, the tools and methods you deploy isn't the same tools you deploy when you're doing social research. Because political opinion poll has a bit of nuances that normal research don't have. You must understand the context in which your people will not tell the truth.
Okay.
Typically a Ghanaian style. And how do you get around that situation and let him tell the truth to you?
Yeah.
What tools or what process do you put in place to make it convenient for the person to speak the truth to you? Do you box them in a corner that they have no choice but to lie to you? Give them an option where they can decide to choose and not to lie to you, at the same time not forcing them to give you an answer. So the questionnaire design is very important. We don't box people in a corner for them to lie to us. There's always an option if they want to remain kind of silent.
Okay, we'll look at your predictions. We'll do the presidential, we'll do the parliamentary. Presidential, we'll do the whole country as well as the region. Same with parliamentary. So we'll start with the presidential. The regional has been crazy.
Yeah.
How the country has flipped to, you know, serious green. And some, you are not expecting that that will happen. Western region, for example, was crazy from blue to green and all that. Which ones, I mean, you have what you did, but which ones got you thinking that, whoa, it was more than I thought, or this was something else? Which one surprised you at the end of the day?
In fact, I just posted something on my social Facebook wall right now, about 20 minutes ago. They say, always follow the trend, always. If I had done that, I wouldn't have gotten Bono and half wrong.
Okay.
In the polls we published on the 14th October, we got everything right in that poll. We gave Muhammad 13 regions, including Bono and Ahafu. But the final prediction we made, I had to make a judgment call. But we had done a poll recently from those regions, which shows slightly different trend from what the average has shown.
Okay.
So I sat down quietly for hours, asking myself, should I go with a trend, or I should just use the current data because it's most recent? Foolishly,
you went with the trend.
No, I went against the trend and picked the most recent data. It came out that the trend was correct.
I mean, on hindsight.
I shouldn't have.
So at least that's a lesson for you moving
Absolutely,
forward.
absolutely.
That's a lesson.
Always follow the trend, because see, there's the occasional poll will have noise in it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, during the time we took that poll, it was at the tail end of the campaign.
That's right.
So when people are sharing goodies, sharing things, they tend to say that, oh, I am here, I'm here, because they expect that maybe that poll will lead to them getting something. So we were misled in that last poll. But the average poll we took were taken long before the goodies started coming in, so they were more accurate.
Okay, let's start with Greater Accra region, presidential. Mahama polled 1.2608832, Bawumia 681,535, correct?
Yes.
Right.
That wasn't surprising.
That didn't surprise
No, because we were saying that he will be hammered in Greater Accra. And I was even scared that if even Ashanti had come big, Accra would have neutralized a lot of the Ashanti region. And we said that the hemorrhaging will be much heavier in Greater Accra than anywhere else in the country.
I mean, on the ground, what were you seeing, or what were you hearing, or what reactions were you getting?
I was focused on the MPP stronghold in Greater Accra. If I knew what is happening there, I would know what is happening in the NDC areas.
Okay.
We haven't got the resources to cover everywhere.
Yeah.
So you deploy your resources to where you can get most of the intelligent data. So if you realize, we were polling Ablekuma South, Ablekuma North, Anyasu, Tum, Trobu, Okanyakwe Central, Okanyakwe South, Ablekuma West. And these are the heartland of MPP. Once we knew that the poll numbers were pretty bad in those areas, we can close our eyes and say it will happen like this in Medina or like that in the Dudio. So we didn't have to bother in those areas. So we knew what was happening in the MPP areas. Then we knew Accra is gone.
Because Vivian, in Musa's poll, in July, he had predicted a 63.8% for John Mahama. That was in July. And then in August, it had reduced to 59.2%. That was in August. In the same month, he had predicted in July a 51.8% for Dr. Mahama Bawumia. And then in October, it remained. It was just a drop in 2.0%, which was 51.6% for Dr. Bawumia in the Greater Accra region from the two months, from July and October. So for both, he had predicted a win for John Mahama in the 2 research that he did for July and October for the Greater Accra region.
Okay, all right. Okaikwe Central.
That's where we are, right?
Yeah, that's where we are. And we all saw what happened there in terms of the presidential.
I was surprised he lost, but I understood why he lost. Because there were about 5 constituencies across the country where the sitting MPP MPs or MPP candidates were relying on NDC votes to win. Okanyakwe Central was one of the constituencies that Patrick Bambo was receiving about 20% support or more from the MPP, NDC folks. So 25% of those who said they are NDC were voting for Patrick Bawumia. If you go to Hawa Kumsin, Senya East, she was getting close to 30% of NDC supporters voting for her. If you go to Sojaman at the time, he was getting close to 30% of NDC supporters voting for him. If you go to the Chiman South, Ajimesa Kosa, he was also in that same position. So they were relying heavily on NDC voters to ride their winning wave. And I think NDC went with the strategy that, look, if you don't know what can happen to Mahama, if he's the president, see the parliament now. If you want him as president to be able to work well, then if you're an NDC, stay in line. And I think that message sank in. And the NDC who were voting for MPP candidates begin to slip away from them. And once they leave you and your people don't come out to vote, certainly you can't survive. You're in trouble.
Which other MP in Greater Accra, Henry Quarty, was it a shocker to you?
No.
You saw that coming?
We saw,
look, all the ministers, Esla, you saw Esla?
Long time. He was even gone long time before.
Before the polls?
Yes.
Wow.
We have done 2 polls in Ablekuma West. Yeah. In all, she was behind by more than 10 points.
Wow. So Esla not surprising, Henry Korte not surprising, nobody surprising to you?
Remember, I don't know, I said that Accra will be a bloodbath, and that the only safest MP for MPP was Patrick Boama, and even he fell.
Yeah,
yes.
because I think Sadiq even made that comment.
Sadiq even challenged you on that particular
you said yes, so he went to do his homework.
We spoke, and I said to him that, look, your defeat is being caused by your own people. For the polls that Boama is leading, almost a quarter of the people are voting for him. So if you can get them to come back home, that's your task.
Yeah, good. So now it turns out that MPP has 3. Only 3 in Greater Accra region.
And those were ones I knew that MPP could hold.
Okay. Were you surprised Wage Agba with Jerry getting?
No,
I think
because NDC had a very bad candidate.
Okay.
According to the polls.
So that was surprising to you. Okay, so Wage Agba were not surprising, Trouble not surprising. The third
Anyanso Otrom, his Pentecostal leading really gave him a good support. He was one of the, after Patrick Boama, he was the next strong candidate in Greater Accra for MPP, and he won. And then in Trobu, I think she was lucky. I don't know what the margin was, because when you have a spillover of Domi Kwabinya, Trobu brothers Domi Kwabinya, and Amasaman.
Yeah.
Amasaman was taken by NDC this time around, and Domi Kwabinya was taken by NDC. So Trobu would have been a target if the spillover had gone bigger. Yeah. But lucky for Trobu, I think the side that brothers Domi Kwabinya is the MPP stronghold. That Taifa North and Taifa South.
Yeah.
Those areas give Trobu a bit of shield.
Now, in doing it, I'm sure you had margins in mind that, okay, this side, the margins will be wider or be smaller. But the amount of margins we're seeing in Greater Accra, for example, resounding.
No, you see, we had done some calculations. And in the MPP stronghold, yes, the MPP stronghold, about 25% of people who in MPP stronghold in 2020, when Fernando had switched their vote to Mahama. And we said that anybody whose margin in the last election is less than that swing,
you're in trouble.
You are in trouble. That is why everybody got kind of
whipped
away. Yes.
Lejo Kuku.
It was long coming.
Well, he was so confident of winning, and it looked like he was going to.
No, but you must exude confidence, that even when you are losing.
Yes, to entice your base.
Exactly,
you know?
you must exude confidence. But I think he knows that the grounds were not fertile for him. In fact, he was one of the most competitive MPP candidates in Greater Accra.
But Musa, I don't think it's because of the national wave.
Of course.
That affected
under normal circumstances, Kuba would have won the election. Under normal circumstances.
If things were right now.
Because he was outperforming his party
in
the constituency. But that performance was not good enough to overcome the anger that the constituency have against the national party.
What about the Tema side?
Oh, Tema's gap that we saw in the poll was huge. In fact, if we compare what Yves Hansen did in 2020 election to what the MPP candidate was doing, he was doing 45% less than Hansen.
Wow.
So that was a huge gap to really overcome. So when it be bright, twice we did poll in Tema West, and we saw that the gap was still there. So I didn't really believe that Forsen would win Tema Central.
You saw it coming.
Yeah, it was coming.
So that's Greater Accra region, gone with the Greens. Let's move to Ashanti region.
Yes.
Ashanti region, what we have is Dr. Baumia polling 1.3,066,800, and then Mahama 697,076. Their prediction, NDC, they were looking at between 35 and 38%. MPP 75, 80%. 85%. At the end of the day, NDC was close to its prediction, if not, within its prediction. What was yours? And
we were dead accurate on Baume's numbers in the Ashanti region. Bang on. We said he would outperform around 65%, at best 68%.
You see, when you go, 68%.
And then he did 66%.
66, below what you were even expecting.
He did 66, so it's even below your polling.
The lower the floor for him was 65%, and the upper was 68%.
Okay, okay. So he did pretty poorly. When you went on the ground, the Ashanti, side, what was the issues for them?
It was the same issue of economic unemployment and other issues. But in terms of turnout, we saw long coming.
The apathy.
Apathy was there. I will not.
You saw it?
Oh yeah. If you take every 100 voters in Ghana here, about 20 of them who say they will not vote come from Ashanti region.
Wow.
And 25 will come from Eastern region.
Eastern region?
Yes.
But then they actually
they did well. They did well in terms of the numbers for the Eastern region. Even though it wasn't what they were expecting.
The gap was close.
So when you look at Eastern region,
what are the figures?
NDC 453,234, MPP 493,000.
That's close. That's not good enough. Now the one Eastern by 58%.
Yeah.
So it means simply that NDC showed up, and those who would have voted for MPP didn't show up.
Yeah.
So the NDC's numbers become a huge size of the proportion.
Yeah.
Is it why for the first time a constituency like Kuapim South recorded green?
I was shocked in Kuapim South because you shouldn't go to bed and wake up and think that Ebri will go to NDC.
Yes.
But that has a background to it.
It has a background to it, but Obiamwa trying to impose a candidate on it. But Vivian, in a constituency where it's typically blue, these things happen.
But still, you're able to.
For the sake of the party, they'll go for the party. But this time
that is not that this time.
It
didn't work.
It didn't work.
So for the presidential, you saw the apathy long gone. But is it difficult for the politicians to notice these things? I mean, he just went on the ground and...
It is.
How so?
It is.
I thought there are internal polls as well for the party. So why are you laughing?
It's difficult for them to see because...
You see, some of the polls, some people don't want to tell the people what they don't want to hear.
Okay.
Right? So, not that he will forge the polls, but the sampling done in such a way that you see what you want.
Skew it to fit the narrative they want to put
The picking of the sample location is critical.
Yeah.
Once you interfere with that in a negative, positive way to show some positive outlook, you have what you want to hear. So we completely employ randomness through simulation.
So Ashanti, for example, which areas did you focus on to get you that?
No, we don't focus. We just pick randomly.
So which random area do you remember?
No, when we are doing polls in Ashanti region, in fact, for the telephone polls, what we've done is that it's a regional level. We first allocate the national party affiliation to MPP. So 950 people, MPP were targeted to be sampled. Then we say, okay, where do we find most MPP voters? And what proportion are they in across the country?
Yeah.
About 24% of MPP supporters in Ghana here come from Ashanti region.
Yeah.
So we allocate the 24% of the 950 to Ashanti region.
Okay.
And then where else do we have more MPP people? Greater Accra. What's the proportion? Let's say 20%. So 20% of that 950, Greater Accra. What next? So we have that data, so we're able to allocate the MPP block to where MPP guys can found.
Yeah.
Now these numbers come from all the constituencies in Ashanti region, so you don't even know where the person is.
Where the person is, yeah.
So when you call, you are calling MPP voter. It doesn't matter where he comes from. Their mind, the way of thinking and behaving in Ashanti will be the same.
You know, yesterday we spoke to Hafiz. He was saying one of the things that did it for the NDC was targeting the areas where the migrant people were. You know,
that doesn't win election, because if we have 50 migrants and 150 locals, 150 will overwhelm
the 50. Few numbers.
So just let the sample reflect how the population of the area look like. Somebody calls me, want to do me a survey, blah, blah, I said, fine. But focus on my stronghold. I said, how? Is that how the vote will come on election day? It won't. So let me give you a typical example of Afram Plains secretary. There are 2 towns in Afram Plains secretary.
Yeah.
Drobonsu and another one. The 2 accounts for nearly 48% of the total population who vote in the constituency. Just 2 electoral areas.
Oh, wow.
Even though the other areas will have plenty of communities, but they are just sparse.
The numbers, and it's a game of numbers.
So, and they want you to sample more from the small areas who don't have the size. Once you do it like that, you ski the result. You show that maybe this person is winning, meanwhile it's not.
Yeah.
So if you allow the sample to reflect the structure of the electoral areas, believe me, you will not get it wrong. And that's what we've been doing for these years.
Okay, so apathy pushed the NPP not to, meet its targets. Yeah. Let's look at the constituencies. In the end, they have 8. It's still 8 because they want to challenge more.
They are looking for 10.
They are looking for 10, but they got 8. Typically, they get 4.
Yeah.
These are the ones that came in.
And the 4 has been their best performance.
Yes, best performance. Now doubling that.
Now, which other areas have they added to their column?
So they from the which they added the Dumasi to it. Adansia Sokwa, Katie lost.
What about the offensos? Didn't you get in offenso?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
But just let me do a quick. But on top of my head, I remember Katie Amon's area, which is Adansia Sokwa. I remember
Katie Amon came close to losing in 2016, and he survived it.
Okay.
But he built on his arsenals and defended it well in the last election. This time I don't know what happened. Really, I didn't see it coming. Hey, over Katie.
and even during his primaries, the MPP primaries, he struggled. He struggled and brought in a whole lot of, issues here and there, accusing people. And so people within there, as Adansia area, were like, Charlie, when it comes to election, it will be tough. And they feel he's been there for long too, since 2004. Okay. And they feel, I think it's about time, they get someone else to take over.
So proud to that, the 4 they had was Asawase, Ejura, Setre, Dumasi, New Edupiasi, and Setra Franklins.
Yes.
Now they've added Adansi Asokwa, Adansi Akrofrom, Ahafua North South East, and Obuasi East.
Yes.
And they are looking to challenge Etrima Impunia, Obuasi West, Offenso North, and
I know Offenso North. In fact, there was some data from the exit poll that showed that could be on the cusp. Webeja, there were evidence very long time that MPP was struggling in that but John Mahama was doing very well at every polling time that you picked data from that place. So there were signs that something was happening there.
Right.
But I'm surprised at the Obuasis, the two. Because Obuasi there, Charlie.
No, they have a lot of people who are settlers in that area.
Yes, because of the mining a lot of people,
as well,
may go in there. And the last election, Kwaku Kwarteng really, had a run for his money. He really struggled in the last election. I think he's Obuasi West also.
Obuasi West.
Yes, he struggled in the last election. When you look at the figures, I think he beat his main contender with 5,000 votes or so.
That's small.
So the intention was that let's try and up the game, up the numbers. But unfortunately, the apathy and the rest didn't really work out for the MPP.
And it would be sad to see him go because a very nice guy, very good MP, and one of the level-headed guys.
I also West Oregon.
I don't know. Now anybody who knows figures should know that woman was born the day after she won the last election.
As in 2020.
Yes.
2020.
Yes. She won because Legon was on recess. It was closed at the time.
When I saw the summer results, I knew she was out. When I saw the results, when we do the polling station once and the results started coming in summer, if you start losing on campus.
The campus she won because last time the campus was shut, COVID,
yeah.
And there was no student population to support Jumelu, and now they are there.
Okay.
She was slaughtered.
All right. Now, with Ashanti, I'm just getting some figures and some that Offenso North, I have one North South, I have one North South West, I have one North South East, and then there's another one. All were won by Mahama.
Yes. And when he wins, he tends to carry with him his species.
Parliamentary candidate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Kumasi, you saw, Ashanti.
Look, there were a lot of signals. In fact, in the last poll within the Ashanti region, even in Old Tafu, Mahama was leading in Old Tafu in a small sample we deployed there against Baumia in Old Tafu. He may not win it, but it tells you that something is going on in these areas, and you must watch out.
Wow. So that's Ashanti, also not a good one. Let's go to Western region. MDC 423,245, And then Baumia 275,233.
You know, sometimes the way to see these election results is to look back to 2020 and see the polls compared to what Nahado did.
Yeah.
In the Western region enclave of Takoradi, that enclave, the most recent poll we did there showed that Baumia has lost 29% compared to what Nahado did in 2020.
For Western region?
Not the entire region, the enclave where MPP is strong.
MPP is strong.
So if at this point you have lost 29% of Nahado's core base, what about the rest of the region where MPP is not strong?
Not strong, yeah.
Then it could be 40%. So that showed that there was trouble coming from Western region. And I was expecting they were going to lose Takoradi as well in Efia. For some reason, they
You saw Takoradi?
Yeah.
What did your poll say at the time?
In fact, you see, and throughout this campaign or this poll, it was the MPP voters who were punishing their MPs.
Yeah.
They were defecting to vote for NDC candidates.
Yeah.
In I think Kwesimin team, over 40% of MPP people abandoned the MP.
And went for the NDC guy.
And with such a performance, there's no way you survive.
Yeah. Was really bad in the Western region.
It was terrible.
Okay, let's see the figures for, is this presidential, Sammy?
Yeah, this presidential.
For 2020, let's see the comparison.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is 2024. So we can do Western region.
Yeah.
Here, 2024. These are the figures for compared to 2024 and 2020.
Yeah.
So 2024, Dr. Mama de Baumia, 275,231, represented 38.33. John Dramani Mahama, 423,245, representing 58.94. Now we go back to 2020. Nana Akufo-Addo, 439,724, representing 50.93%. John Mahama, 2020, 398,549, representing 46.16%. So when you compare the two figures between 2024 and 2020, the MPP indeed reduced the numbers in the Western region when it comes to the presidential.
Almost by half.
Almost by half.
Wow.
Musa, you saw this coming?
Oh, yes. In fact, if you look at our predictions, the only seat they were supposed to hold was Second-D, which they lost.
Yeah.
So I was saying that if they had lost Second-D, then nowhere else would be safe.
What about Efia? Did you predict they were going to lose Efia?
Yes, I said they're going to lose. I don't know.
But they won.
They won Efia.
They won Efia.
And they retained Third-D too.
And Third-D, yes, the two.
The two.
Yes. But then they lost Kwesimin.
It means they are lucky. If they had lost those two, it means they have been wiped out.
Well, so this is the first time we're seeing a poor performance of the Western region. 15 over, 7.
You know, in the latter part of the campaign, the statute did not help. It did not help. It really boiled over. Look, if you look at Iskaro Kitan, we did 2 polls there before the election.
Okay.
The first poll showed Charles Bisu leading. And I remember the NDC candidate, Dr. Ayushi called me, complained that her polls, people are saying that she's winning. I said, for now...
This was in what month again?
I think around July.
July, okay.
Yes, those times. So she was complaining to me that her people said that she's winning. For now, per our poll, you're not winning yet.
Yeah.
You are behind in the polls. But there were a lot of people who were undecided. And towards the later part of the campaign, when MPP lost track and focus in the campaign, those who were not, who haven't decided yet, they broke heavily against MPP.
I remember you told us that those who are undecided will always go for the incumbent. Will always go for the opposition. Because I remember you told Fred and I, when we were doing those ones that anytime we hear people say, I don't know yet, I'm undecided, I don't know who I'm going to vote for, those people are dangerous. They may go for the opposition.
Absolutely.
They may want to go to the opposition.
In fact, if you look at Efia, if you're Kwesimin team, about 43% of them were what? Undecided.
Wow.
Yes. And you have a sitting MP.
who was going against an independent candidate who was a former member of parliament for the area as well, who lost in the primaries and was granted decided to run as an independent candidate. And so in that particular constituency, Vivian, the MPP was sharing two, they had to split their vote between the former MP who was running as an independent candidate and then, Dr. Prince Ama, Deputy Minister for Works and Housing. The more reason why I feel that because of this division, the MPP, the NDC had an easy slot in there.
I wish you could show us the graphic, colored picture of 2020, what it looked like, where we see the greens and the blues, the mapping itself, and then 2024. What it will look like if you can do that. If not, we'll come to that in a bit. So the statue was a big thing.
It was a big thing.
And there was a lot of unfinished projects as well in the region.
The statue was in a very bad taste, timing wise, and the way the people were really angry at that. And also you see money in the campaign, the last minute of the campaign, really cost MPP.
The sharing of money.
Oh yes. It
was wrong. The timing was
wrong, and the people who were taking the money were wiser than those who were those of us before. When
we will take a vote.
Now these guys are really something. No, and we do have a data exit poll about people who took money and who they voted for. Shocking. Yes.
So tell me about that one.
Oh, I don't know whether Fred has the
Fred,
data.
do you have the exit? I think he has it. Fred, project to us the one you sent me.
Then we can look at it from and then we'll see better insight of what Ghanaians did.
You can take us. You will be able to do it from here.
But even before that, I'm sure we can see a couple of them here.
Well, I wish they can put this on that, so viewers can see that. But whilst we are waiting for that, you can take us to...
You see, what we saw in the outcome of the poll is that there was a total collapse of Alan and Bediako voters on the day. Now, if Alan and Bediako had performed as we say, Muhammad would have been on 54%. Now, you have been dead on our upper limit. Now, when these guys collapsed, they all went to Mahama.
So Bediako and Alan's votes went to Mahama?
Yes, at the last minute. Probably in the booth when they went there, they changed their mind. Yes.
Because I was surprised to see the figures, Cheddar had.
Yeah.
Because he was more or less like the star boy of this election. A lot of youth, these Gen Zs that you want to speak to, they'll tell you, oh yeah, they be voting my China. So when it came and I realized he had some 0 point something percent, I'm like, he didn't even make 1%.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised.
Remember, I was saying that with the younger voters, they will hype you.
Yeah.
But getting them to queue and vote is another thing. So once you are being backed by young people, you must have the energy to energize them to go out and vote.
But those who try to energize them suffer for it.
No, energize, not in incentive, but beyond money, that they have a belief that this guy will do something. The hope, if you look at the Obama campaign in 2008, it was driven by younger voters. They shared in that belief and they were committed to it.
Yeah.
These guys were not committed.
Okay, Musa, we'll take a quick break. When we'll come, we'll go into details of your exit poll. We'll also look at other regions, a central region, what do you call it? The Bono. The Bono guys also did their own thing. We'll look at that as well.
The upper ones as well.
0. Crazy, crazy, crazy. We'll be right back. Stay with us. You don't want to miss this.
Well, there it is. It's finally here. Old School Reunion Pub Chain on Saturday the 21st of December 2024 at the Gold Coast Restaurant, Cantonments, Accra. It's going to be an old school reunion extravaganza of live music featuring alumni bands from Achimota, Presec, Infantipim, Adisado, St. John's, and the Christian Alumni Association Ghana's historic all-female band. The guest artist is a US-based Local Crisis, and DJ Pello is on the ones and twos on the night for the after party. Ticket prices are regular 200 Ghana cedis online or by short code *844*344# and 300 Ghana cedis at the gate, and also at the Bachuna Total or BachunaTotalOnline.com. Table packages are also available. Proceeds are to help purchase equipment for the Achimota School Science Labs. Partners City FM and Channel 1 TV. For inquiries, call 0302 799 834. Come, let's jam together. Don't miss this. Ibafe.
Wake up to a rich breakfast full of variety.
Blend your scrumptious waakye with an energetic USRV.
Right, eat your buffalo alongside uplifting and informative lifestyle conversations.
It's me, Chris Carter. Spend your mornings with me.
Or you can enjoy your mornings with me, Jifa KD Akuto.
And have breakfast with me, David Kwekusechi, right here on Breakfast Daily every Monday to Friday from 7:25 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your favorite channel, Channel 1 TV.
It's still the Election Bureau and it's still the Situation Room. My name is Vivian Kai. Look, I'm here with Musa Danko as well as Samiri Afi. We're looking at the figures and polls. We'll also do a bit of the transitions among others. But for now, we're looking at the performance of the two political parties and then the predictions and the polls that came up prior to that. We've done the Ashanti Greater Accra region. We'll move to the central and then the eastern and some other key regions. But I want to see something. Are you ready with how the region looked like in terms of...
So yeah, this is the general outlook when it comes to the parliamentary seats across the country.
Okay.
So green represents the NDC, the blue represents the MPP, and the red ones you see in there are the independent parliamentary candidates.
Yeah.
You know, in this year's election, we had 4 independent, members of parliament. And for the first one, this is the Wellency constituency, followed by the Afram Plains North constituency in the eastern region. And then you have the Asante Akim North constituency in the Ashanti region. This was the gentleman who is a member of the MPP but lost in the primaries against Andy Appiah Kubi. Yeah. So he decided to run as an independent candidate and then he lost. Recently there was an issue about some, guys being assaulted in a local radio station, Salt FM. Yeah. He's the owner of Salt FM in that particular area. And then there's the Gomoa, Gomoa Central constituency where A Plus also won that particular parliamentary seat in there. So in total,
how many voters are in that constituency? Because immediately the polls closed within 3 or 2 hours.
Yeah,
he was on Facebook that I have won.
He came out to come and say
I'm like, hey,
maybe he saw what MVP and NDC were getting.
He knew that. No,
he
this
can
is
conclude.
for me. Okay, so 4 independent.
So 4 independent, parliamentary candidates. The blue represents the MPP, and we know the number of seats the MPP won, and once the NDC also lost. So this is the general parliamentary outlook across the country as far as parliamentary election is concerned. So in this year's, next year's parliament, the 9th parliament, that is how the outlook is going to be like. NDC obviously dominates the majority side of the house. So if you even look at the curve, you realize that the Green is majority, MPP is also here, and the FIDE. For the independents, we do not know whether they will side with the MPP or the NDC, but when the house really begins, that's when we'll know whether they will side with the MPP or the NDC. The former independent, member of parliament for Formula, this time around joined the MPP, so he's part of the minority for now, because he's going to be a minority member of parliament. So, Vivian, this is how it looks like in parliament, and this is how the 9th parliament is going to look like.
Okay, so what we have now, 57 seats for the MPP, is that so?
Yes.
And then 174 for the NDC. MPP losing as much as 80 seats.
More than. Because remember, there are some parliamentary seats on hold.
Yeah.
And the NDC is laying claims to these parliamentary seats, and they believe that they will win, a number of them. Already they've won 2 in the Greater Accra region. Ablekuma North and Okankwe Central, which was or is or are MPP seats predominantly. But the first time NDC is taking those seats.
But those seats, based on what we saw yesterday and the day before at the regional headquarters of the EC, I see serious court, cases.
A lot of them are going to come up.
Probably switching back to the MPP, Musa. Because the EC officials
some of the pink sheets
were,
and we understand some of the pink sheets were not even complete.
Yeah, so based on
for a declaration to be done.
Even though your polls show that at a point Okankwe will move to
but the poll doesn't matter. It's the actual vote that counts.
Exactly. So from what we saw, I'm not really sure about those ones. Yesterday I was watching Madame Efriye being heckled.
Yeah,
it was just distasteful. So I don't know. It's just not right.
But for Madame Efriye, she feels she won the seat.
Yes, she said
according to her, she won by 418 votes.
Yes,
that's according to her. Then her pink sheets shows that.
Yeah.
But then the EC official, because they were under pressure and duress, they could not go through all of them, and in some instances, some of them even got bent. And the more reason why she believes that she won the constituency.
Well, she said they've tabulated it at least 3-4 times.
Yes, and in all she won.
Yeah.
In all she won. So she may want to take this matter up. Already, Padre Brahma has said that he's going to court on this particular matter, and let's see how it goes.
Okay, well, we'll come back to this, but I have to take viewers and listeners to the conference center where, of course, the transition team is about to be inaugurated. President-elect John Mahama, we're told, has arrived. Outgoing president, if you look on your screens, President Nana Akufo-Addo also there. So let's go there and see what's going on. Well, they are not really ready, but Musa and Sami, we are seeing President Akufo-Addo, looking nice in his white shirt and his suit.
In 2016, it was the same venue.
Yeah,
I happened to be present during that particular.
Then you were a presidential correspondent.
Yeah, so it's a similar thing that's going to be done.
Okay.
So the president will speak, and then the incoming president will speak, and then officially they will do a joint inauguration of the two committees. Okay. So one side for the incoming administration, the other side for the outgoing administration. So this is more or less like a stock taking of all the state of Ghana, the state of the state.
Yeah.
So in terms of economy,
the money,
security, almost everything will be brought here when the committee starts meeting. Documents upon documents will be scrutinized, and then they will know the true state of the Ghanaian economy before they hand over officially to the incoming administration.
So this ceremony is a short one?
It's a short one. At most, by 30 minutes, we are done.
Okay.
At most, by 30 minutes,
okay.
Let's
pick the sound now.
Done.
Police service has played the national anthem, what has been observed, and the event is about to commence. This is a live coverage of the inaugural ceremony of the transition team, which is expected to oversee a smooth transfer of power from the current administration to the government.
Not
that has
unto us,
one
O
power.
Lord, not unto us, but to your name be glory, praise, and honor for the abundance of your grace and mercies towards us as a nation and a people, for taking us successfully through the general elections and bringing us thus far by your grace and mercies. Lord our God, we are gathered today to inaugurate the 2024 Joint Transition Team. And we pray that your presence will be with us. Not only in this inauguration, your spirit will continue to direct the team so that love for country and the quest for your glory will be with them throughout the process so that we have a seamless and a peaceful process for the glory of your name and the blessings of our nation. Sovereign God, we pray your blessings upon our President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and we pray your blessings upon the President-elect, our President-elect, His Excellency John Mahama. We pray, oh God, may your hand continue to lead our nation. May every grace continue to abound towards us. Bless our homeland Ghana, O Lord. Make our nation great and strong and a beacon of democracy in Africa and the world at large. We trust your leading in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you. Please be seated. We thank you, Apostle Colonel. President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President-elect of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Vice President-elect, Her Excellency Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, Madam Chief of Staff and Co-Chairperson of the Joint Transition Team, Honorable Akosua Frema Osei Opare, Honorable Julius Deborah, Co-Chairperson of the Joint Transition Team, former Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Mike Okwe Sr., Chairman and Board Members of the National Peace Council, Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, and incoming Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations, senior government officials at the presidency, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the President of the Republic and President-elect, I heartily welcome all of you to this evening's state ceremony, which bears on the inauguration of the 2024 Joint Transition Team by the President of the Republic. We congratulate all the members of the 2024 Joint Transition Team for their appointments. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's now my distinct honor and privilege to invite the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to give his remarks, inaugurate the Joint Transition Team, and officially provide a handing over note to the President-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Please, let's welcome His Excellency, the President of the Republic.
President-elect, Vice President-elect, Chief of Staff of the Office of the President and officials of the Presidency, Ministers of State, members of the transition team, the chairman and members of the Peace Council, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome all of you to this inaugural meeting, which marks a significant step in our democratic process, the smooth transfer of power from one administration to another. This meeting and the processes we're about to undertake are firmly grounded in the Presidential Act of 2012, Act 845, which provides the legal framework for an orderly and transparent transition. The just ended presidential and parliamentary elections have once again reaffirmed the will of the Ghanaian people. On behalf of the government and people of Ghana, I extend warm congratulations to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on his decisive election as the next President of the Republic. I also warmly congratulate Professor Nana Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, who has made history by becoming Ghana's first female Vice President-elect. A pioneering achievement that underscores the strides our nation is making toward gender equality and inclusivity in governance. I'd like to assure both of them of the full support of my government and myself for an effective transition, and wish them luck and God's blessings in the discharge of their high responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the peaceful transition of power is a hallmark of mature democracies. Fortunately for us in Ghana, the foresight of the Fifth Parliament of the Fourth Republic has, with the adoption of the Presidential Transition Act 2012, Act 845, established for us a robust framework for managing transitions, safeguarding the gains of our democratic journey. Today, we reaffirm our collective resolve to adhere to the letter and spirit of this act and ensure that this transition proceeds seamlessly, transparently, and with dignity. The composition of this transition team is thus in full conformity and accord with the Presidential Transition Act, with the composition of the President's team comprising the Chief of Staff at the Office of the President, the Honorable Akosua Fremont Perry, who will serve as the alternate co-chair of the committee in my absence, the Attorney General Godfrey Ebu-Adame, the Minister for Presidential Affairs, Honorable Osei Mensah Bunsu, the Minister for Finance, the Honorable Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, the Minister for the Interior, Honorable Henry Korte, the Minister for Defense, the Honorable Dominic Nitiwo, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Shirley Ayoko Buche, the Minister for Local Government, Honorable Martin Ajay Mensah Kosa, and the Minister for National Security, Honorable Ken Dapa. In accordance with the Act, there are also 4 ex officio members, namely the Head of Civil Service, Dr. Evans Agri Daku, the Head of the Local Government Service, Dr. Nana Atu Arthur, the Secretary to the Cabinet, Ambassador Mercy Deborah Karikari, and the National Security Coordinator, Mr. Edward Asumani. Furthermore, the Advisory Council provided for under the Act has been constituted. I have nominated Professor Mike Okoye, former Speaker of Parliament, to serve on this council. The President-elect, John Mahama, has nominated the former Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Edward Du Ajaho, to represent him on the council, whose chair is ex officio the current Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Alban Bagbin. The functions of the transition team, as outlined in Section 2 of the Presidential Transition Act, are clear. They include ensuring a proper and seamless handover of executive authority, ensuring the provision of daily national security briefings to the President-elect, and ensuring the due discharge of the financial obligation of the state to Article 71 office holders. To execute these functions effectively, the Act makes provision at the instigation of the transition team for the formation of discretionary committees to address specific aspects of the transition process as it deems fit. It is obvious that the role of this team is not simply administrative. It is deeply patriotic. You are tasked with ensuring that the incoming administration receives all the resources, briefings, and support it needs to begin its work with the single objective of advancing the interests of the Ghanaian people. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is a reaffirmation of our shared commitment to the democratic principles that underpin our republic. This commitment is especially critical in the current context of West Africa, where the region faces threats from unconstitutional changes in government and the spread of terrorism and violent extremism. Ghana stands out as a beacon of democracy and stability, showcasing the strength of our institutions and the maturity of our people. It is imperative that we continue to consolidate this hard-earned reputation. By adhering strictly to the provisions of the Transition Act, we send a powerful message to the world that democracy thrives in Ghana, even in challenging times. As we embark on this transition, I urge all members of the team, both from the outgoing administration and the incoming one, to approach this task with a spirit of collaboration, transparency, and mutual respect. The people of Ghana are counting on us to prioritize their interests above all else. Let us not lose sight of our shared goal, safeguarding the freedom, the peace, progress, and stability of our beloved nation. This transition is not an end, but a continuation of the democratic journey, which serves as a model for our region and beyond. I call on all Ghanaians to support this process with patience, understanding, and faith in the institutions that underpin our republic. The strength of our democracy lies not just in the conduct of elections, but also in the respect for the outcomes and the orderly handing over of power. Let us continue to build a nation that serves as an inspiration to others, a nation united in its diversity and freedom, and steadfast in its pursuit of progress. President-elect, Your Excellency, you'll be happy to learn that the Minister of Finance has just informed me on my way here that the third quarter results of the economy has been established at a growth of 7.2%, making an average rate of the growth of the first 3 quarters at 6.3%. We are indeed back to the pre-COVID era of growth in my first term. May God bless us all and our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong.
We thank you, Mr. President. A round of applause, a more louder round of applause for Mr. President. Please be seated. The President of the Republic, thank you very much, Mr. President. Please resume your seats. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I respectfully invite the President-elect to respond to the President's statement, may I duly recognize and acknowledge the presence of Honorable Do Ajaho, former Speaker of Parliament of Ghana. Please give him a round of applause. It is now my distinct honor and privilege to invite the President-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to the podium for his response statement. Please, a louder round of applause. Let's welcome the President-elect.
Thank you very much.
His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, Her Excellency the Vice President-elect Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, the Chief of Staff, indeed, let me say, distinguished guests, and stand on existing protocol. I want to thank His Excellency the President for his kind invitation this morning to visit the office of the President to discuss preliminary issues before the inauguration of the transition team this morning. I also want to thank him for the early briefing he gave me on issues of critical national importance in respect of national security and the economy. I want to congratulate him on superintending over what has been a successful election, and to congratulate the Security Service, the Electoral Commission, and all those who helped to make this election successful. Our country has done it once again, despite the belief of naysayers, and I believe that Ghana will continue to get it right when it matters the most. Today we're here to inaugurate the Joint Transitional Team as required by law, and I wish to congratulate the members who have been selected or nominated to serve on this Joint Transitional Team. There's huge expectation that this transitional team will get its work right so that we have a seamless and smooth transition of power from one democratically elected government to another. Obviously, this is in fulfillment of the Presidential Transition Act, which was signed into law in 2012 by our late President of blessed memory, Professor John Evans Atta Mills. The law requests that we set up a joint transitional team in a cooperative spirit with mutual respect and openness to the approach of matters during the transition period. The purpose is to achieve a smooth and peaceful transfer of government administration, as I said, from one government to another. We pray that the members of the Joint Transitional Team will work within the confines of this law to fulfill the wishes of the Ghanaian people as expressed in the votes of 7th December 2024. In accordance with law, I have nominated members of my side of the Joint Transitional Team and nominated Honorable Julius Deborah, former Chief of Staff, to represent me as joint chair of the transition team. I've also nominated, on the basis of experience and institutional memory, several other people, including Johnson Asiedu Nketia, who is the chairman of our party, but also served as a long-standing member of parliament and also as Deputy Minister of Agriculture. Honorable Fifi Fiavikwete, who's General Secretary of our party and served as Minister of Transport and Minister of Agriculture. Mr. Kalistus Mahama, who was head of the Ghana Local Government Service and also has been the administrator in my office these past 8 years. Professor Kwamina Ahoy, who is a doyen of local government, and if I want to talk about his credentials, we probably would not leave here today. And Mr. Atuforsen MP, who is our majority leader. In order not to stir controversy, maybe I'll say incoming. I don't know what position he will take, but Honorable Mama Yaga, MP, who also served as Minister of Youth and Sports and also as Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, and is the MP for Boko Central. Honorable Valerie Sawyer, who served as Deputy Chief of Staff and also served as Special Presidential Advisor on Policy. And Honorable Guzi Tano, who is a long-standing Keda has been a member of the PNDC and is a very well-known intellectual and very seasoned politician and businessman. We have 3 ex-official members, and the first is Honorable Prosper Bani, who served as Chief of Staff and also as Minister of Interior, but previously worked with the United Nations. We have Honorable Marita Brew Apia Opong, who was Attorney General when I was President. And then we have the Doyen of Transitions, Honorable Nana Tudazi, who is a UN consultant on transitions and has worked on transitions in many countries. And of course, as Mr. President said, the Honorable Dua Jaho joins the Honorable Michael Quay under the chairmanship of Speaker Sumana Bagbin on the Advisory Council. I wish to ask that we all be guided by the spirit behind the Presidential Transition Act to ensure a smooth and seamless transition. We may belong to different political parties, but we all belong to Ghana, and let the spirit of our nationalism and patriotism prevail. We call on the transition team to work expeditiously and within a modest budget, given the prevailing economic circumstances, even though Mr. President seems to strike a very upbeat tone on recent numbers. I'm sure the transition team would establish that. Mr. President, you can count on my respect and cooperation during and even after this transition. We must demonstrate to the world that despite the adversity we face, Ghana remains the beacon of democracy in Africa. Now more than ever, destiny requires us as countrymen and women to close our ranks and stand in solidarity with each other. And just a little slip, I omitted Dr. Edward Omani Boama, who was Minister of Communications in my government and has been the Director of Elections during the past election. And so we must put our country first, and the work would be onerous, but we expect that you're capable and you're going to put your shoulders to the wheel. Myself and Mr. President will be available in case you need to consult us on anything. Let the spirit of cooperation that has marked the post-election period continue to guide us even as we go through this phase. And so I want to thank you all, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the President-elect. Please resume your seats. We will now have our closing prayer by Apostle Colonel Benjamin Godson Kumi Wood, after which we would have a brief announcement to be followed by the national anthem and official photo session that would signify the end of this all-important inauguration ceremony. Closing prayer.
Shall we pray? As one nation, one people with a common destiny, we stand grateful to you for what you've done for us and how far you've brought us, O Sovereign Lord. And we pray, O God, as the scripture says, chariots are prepared for battle, but victory is of the Lord. May you grant us victory and success in all our endeavors, ensuring that our nation will continue to march forward in the power of your Spirit and grace, and in all things have a reason to give you glory and honor. We are confident that you will be with the joint transition team in their work, so the result will be a blessing to us all. To you be the glory, praise and adoration, even now and forevermore. Now to God's gracious mercy and peace do I commit you. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon you and give you peace. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Amen.
Please be upstanding. The joint transition team, yes.
So those are some beautiful sights and sounds from the inauguration of the Transitions Committee. And the next weeks, they would ensure that there's a proper handover of government affairs to the incoming government, which is going to be led by President-elect John Mahama. We're in the studio. I'm here with Musa Dankwa as well as Sami Afe. We're not just looking at the transitions, we are also looking at the numbers with regards to the 2024 general elections. Musa Dankwa did some quite good polls. Most of his predictions came to pass. So we're running through his mind how he got it right, you know, in terms of, you know, the polls and all that. So guys, I think we're done with the Western, right? We've done Greater Accra, Ashanti, Western. Which region should we move to?
The upper region.
You want to do the upper? Okay, so upper east, upper west, northeast, Savannah, and northern region. Okay.
So in the upper regions, the MPP didn't get any seats in those regions.
They had Binduri before Upper East, and then they lost Binduri.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they were looking to capture Pusiga. But thing went haywire and they lost that one too.
The people was very confident when it comes to people because the candidate they had presented, they thought it was a very strong candidate. That was, is it Hanas, the buffer stock guy. Yeah. And the party was very confident of winning because they felt he was a very, very strong candidate, a very strong one at that. So if you remember, even in that particular in that constituency, they didn't do primaries. They made him go unopposed. It was one of the orphan constituencies, so they made him go unopposed, thinking that he would use his influence to, you know, to win the seat for the MPP. But the wind of change, as we saw, changed there too. And the MPP got back its seat. The NDC got back its seat there.
And also, I think they were looking for a good contest in Navrongo, but it didn't materialize.
It didn't materialize, yeah. For Navrongo, I've always said that since may he rest in peace, Kofi Adda left. It will be difficult for any strong MPP individual to emerge in that constituency to win it. I've been there before. I stayed there for a couple of weeks, and I know that the kind of politics they play there is want of a better word, is crazy. And so if you don't get a person like Kofi Adda, the strong candidature that he was, it was always going to be difficult for any people to get it. You remember Kofi Adda's primaries with I've forgotten the lady.
Yeah.
It was a deadly one. It was and the MPP has not recovered
from that.
The MPP has never recovered from that because it brought serious division. And until the party finds someone who is more stronger than the late Kofi Adda, it will be difficult to win that seat back.
Okay. Of the whole of the northern side, in terms of parliamentary, the one that I wasn't expecting, I'm sure Musa was expecting, because I thought he had a hold, even though his primaries, they did about 2 or 3 or so, was Yendi. I wasn't expecting that.
No, we saw some signs of weakness.
Okay.
But we didn't think it was huge enough to turn the seat green. I think there was a poll there. In fact, I remember on social media, people were mocking that how can Muhammad be 52% in Yendi, environment 48. And I said, it's not me. It's the sample we picked from the areas we went to. And that was probably a sign that something wasn't right in Yendi. And sometimes when you see such polls, you don't dismiss them entirely. You begin to go behind the scene, what is happening.
Yeah. Perhaps Yendi should have.
And Yendi has been an MPP seat.
Yes,
since
very blue.
Yeah, a long time.
If the MPP should lose any seat in the northern region,
it shouldn't be Yendi.
It shouldn't be Yendi.
The Yendi issue, should we take a look at the candidates? You know, the lady, her name is...
It's very possible. Abibata.
Abibata,
very
and
possible.
then,
The primaries was
So certainly what would have happened is a division within MPP.
Yes.
And similar to what probably happened in Domi Kwabinya. Because Ayubata thinks that if Farouk wins, then her chance of coming back will be very slim. So let him fall
and so that I can come back. So, and then that area as well, I was expecting, or I thought, Galus, what's it?
Zabzugo.
No,
Damango.
I was surprised Jinapo pulled through.
No, I wasn't surprised.
I wasn't surprised either.
I wasn't surprised.
I wasn't surprised.
How so?
I wasn't, because Jinapo had really worked in that constituency. He had really used his resources to really develop the constituency. Had opportunity to visit there. And
hey, when did you go there? Was there a weekend
opportunity to go there?
I think
before 2020, before he became member of parliament, the kind of developments there, and what has happened when he became a member of parliament there, you could see major transformation. I think his only challenge was their water problem. He had promised to deal with their water challenges, but that was becoming a problem. So he was doing more or less like poly tanks and serving the people with water. And I thought that was really what did the trick for them. But what might have caused him a bit was his recent beef with the local chiefs. If he had not sent, the president had not intervened to get some influential people to go there and beg, that was it for him. That was it for him. But he's a prince, and he thought wise enough to get some elders to go and plead on his behalf. Even after the begging cry, he nearly lost. So imagine if he hadn't gone there to go and who I beg. It was going to be a problem for him. So him retaining the seat, I wasn't surprised. I really wasn't surprised.
Any surprises you saw? All of that area?
Not surprised, but Zabzugu, it was shaking. The most recent poll we did there, I think the NDC were almost neck and neck. And whenever NDC is neck and neck, you know that seat will be taken by them.
You know that you know that seat was contested by the deputy chief of staff.
Yes.
He had won the primaries. The MP was bitter.
Yes.
So instead of going to appease the guy, they just left the guy, let him go like that.
And the guy has come from I think Konkomba.
Yes.
And the people split.
And the guy had decided to run as independent candidate, and that was what caused it. That was really what caused it for Ali Muhammad.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know whether you can do this. If you can put together all the northern, northeast, upper west Savannah together, so we can see the numbers.
We can see the numbers in that particular area.
I remember we looked at it critically at the time, myself and Bernard, during the early days situation, because of the fact that the two main candidates belong to those.
So the northern,
northeast, upper
Savannah.
east, upper west, Savannah.
That's after Oti.
Okay, Savannah,
upper west,
upper east, and upper west. So this gives us the entire, region. The number of regions that we mentioned. So when you look at the figures, so we are looking at northern, northeast, Savannah, upper west, and then upper east. 2024, 10 seats for the MPP, 26 for the NDC.
Almost 50.
2020, combine all these regions, 20 for the MPP, 37 for the NDC. So net loss for the MPP 10, net gain for the NDC is 9. If you look at the number of registered voters in that particular region, we're looking at 3,152,959. Those who came out to vote, 2,272,139. In total, 57 constituencies. and still the Green dominates.
Yeah.
The Green dominates, with the exception of one independent candidate here. You realize that the Green dominates in this region. If you remember, Vivian, in this particular election, in the Upper East and Upper West, MPP didn't win a single seat today.
Yeah.
In the Upper East and Upper West, MPP didn't win. So in the Northern region, or the 5 regions, the areas you could see the MPP won some seats is the Northeast and the Northern region proper. The MPP won like 3 seats, 3 in the Northern region. We are talking about Bimbila, we are talking about Tolon, and Karaga, the finance minister's seat.
And Gushegu.
Yeah. But then in 2020, it was split 9-9. Yeah. But I realized that MPP lost quite a number of seats in this particular, 5 regions.
Let's see Bumpurugu. Who won Bumpurugu?
Bumpurugu
in the Northeast.
In Northeast region. Let me go back.
To the North.
2024.
Musa, do you do any predictions for Bumpurugu?
We have a model for Bumpurugu, and I think we were expecting MPP to have a lot of seats there. We were in the Northeast, and my projection was for Bumpurugu to flip.
So NDC won that particular constituency?
Bumpurugu.
Yes.
That was a stunner. I'll see how close it is, yes.
Yeah, very close. 17,000, 18,000.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah, very close. Very close.
In my
the margin is just 1,085 votes.
In my model, MP was supposed to flip that seat. So it means the wind didn't blow in that direction.
In that direction.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move to Central Region.
Let's do Central Region.
Yeah.
Select region. We'll do Central Region. And here we go. That's how it looks like for the Central Region. Wow. The number of seats 2024, MPP 4, NDC 18. 2020, MPP 10, NDC 13. Net loss 6, net gain 5. If you look at the picture very well, here it is. It's green, with the exception of Upper Dintra, which MPP won in that particular constituency. And then you come to, it went back. Let me go back again.
Now, I thought people were saying that. Musa, what was your prediction for Central Region, parliamentary and presidential?
The final model shows that NDC was leading in the numbers.
Okay. But for both parliamentary and presidential?
Yes, but a good number were in toss-up.
Okay.
Which were MPP seats that they had to defend.
Okay.
But when you are defending seats, toss-up, and the wind is blowing against you, you are most likely to lose most of them.
How are Kumsin? Did you see it coming?
Initially, she was okay. She was okay until the brouhaha with the Nakoyo, that violence.
Yeah.
And that turned the NDC people against her. Remember, she was relying on about 20% of NDC guys to survive.
Yeah.
Once there was a violence against the NDC candidate, the NDC people abandoned her and came home. And also, she branded products with her picture and DMA's picture, sharing food products. From that point, she lost the floating voters.
So you believe those who shared, because you said
those who shared, they lost.
All those who shared.
Yes, if you shared, immediately your case worse.
The people didn't want the thing again.
No, they took it, but they will punish you.
So how comes in Central Region?
So this is how constituency.
Yeah. Okay, you finish with that.
So this is how as Musa mentioned, the gap was 5,000. 5,000. How polling 45,638. The lady now Okoyo 50,886. 52.35%. For me, I knew she was going to suffer because of the bad press in that constituency. I live in Kaswa, so you realize that anytime there's going to be voter registration is an issue. And the recent one, as Vivian mentioned, the arrest of the young lady, it drew her a lot of sympathy. And they felt that, why is Howard using state machinery to intimidate her? And the sympathy she got from people within that area also caused it. Secondly, a lot of MPP people did not also turn up to vote for Howard in this particular constituency.
So double jeopardy.
And that was really what caused that.
Right. Let's go to Eugene.
That would be able to say.
I never thought it would be a race.
It was
just yes.
That's able to say.
But he did 26,000, right?
Yes.
This is the biggest gap.
Yeah.
In the constituency.
The biggest gap. Because I remember when George Under won it in 2016, I think the gap was about 10,000 or so, above 10,000, yeah. So the expectation was that it was going to go, wider than that. And when George didn't contest in the primary, a lot of people thought George was going to come back. And when President went there in one of his regional tours to go and endorse Eugene, it then killed, so no, then George is not coming at all. So let's Eugene go. Eugene went to the race with, I think, just one candidate during the orphan constituency primaries, and he won handsomely. And with the kind of resources that he had, a lot of people thought that, he was going to do magic for them. And he brought quite a number of development to that constituency. Boreholes, AstroTurf,
really
fixing their roads. He really brought a number of developments in the area. And people thought that were going to translate to votes.
You see, one problem is that if you are close to power, then the performance of the president affects you directly.
Yeah,
which is what most of them suffer.
So if you are close to power,
so
be
if
very,
you realize,
very careful.
almost all the candidates who were closer to power lost.
They lost.
So Jefferson Saki, Ablekuma Central, Eugene Ahe, and then the Zabzugu gentleman Fawaz also losing.
Right. Any others? Of course, Musa says this one was no contest. But which ones, Musa, did you like, especially the swings?
I was expecting the MPP to win Asin Central.
Asin Central.
I was surprising to everybody.
Let's see the
Asin Central. So that will be in the central region.
Yes.
So that will be in the still in the central region.
So Asin Central.
So I think Asin Central will be somewhere here. Up here. Okay, there's Agona. Okay, Asin North. Asin Central will be somewhere here.
Yeah,
great.
That's it.
Asin Central will be somewhere here.
So Asin Central, NDC.
Just 417
votes. That's very close.
Very close. That's Kennedy Japan's area.
Yeah.
I remember this guy too had some bad press some few months ago.
The NDC candidate. Yeah, he's going
and
to
they
do
were asked to pull down and that kind of thing, to withdraw. And
I'm sure the NDC leadership realized that this guy was the one going to win the seat for them.
So they maintained
because if you realize the sanction imposed on him by the regional executive, National Council that sanction and one region about this guy. Maybe they saw something we didn't know. They saw something we didn't know. Because if you look at the gap, Vivian, 417.
What about Asin South?
It was obvious that it was.
So it's a three-way split again. The independent candidate, NDC, and Intim Fojo.
Yeah. So that's any more surprises in Central that you guys?
Not really. At least.
No.
Yeah.
No, we had a lot of data about Central, but we were keeping our mouth shut.
The lady who went independent, who caused
Aguna West.
Of course, she won't show me, but at least we see
it will be somewhere
here. Aguna
West. This Gomwa East.
No, that's Gomwa. No, it's Aguna West. That's Cynthia Morrison.
Cynthia Morrison.
Yeah, here you go. Yeah, here you go.
That's part of Nyekrum.
Yeah.
Yes. 26,000 against 20,000.
So she was able to. She drained votes from
MPP sides. So that's okay. So let's move. If we don't have any other peculiar things in the central region, I think we can move to the eastern region and see whether there were any surprises there.
Eastern region for me, Vivian. My only surprise was
Equiapim
South. That's my only surprise.
Yeah.
That's because all these years, that particular constituency has been an MPP seat. So for the NDC to really, hold that particular or win that particular seat, it was very surprising for me. Supposed to have the map here. Okay, so it's
still in there.
Let me go back. Yeah.
And we'll wrap up with the bonus. They did their own thing.
So we do the eastern region.
We couldn't see the exit poll.
Okay.
It's too late.
Well, it's not popping up. So let's quickly do Bono and.
Okay.
You have
it's here. It's here. Okay. So this is the general map of the eastern region. So let's go to the constituency. For me, that was surprising for me. Is
Equiapim South.
Equiapim South. That's OBM1's constituency.
Ebri.
That was an imposition of a candidate.
Yes, it was.
Even that.
Because if you realize the presidential, Dr. Bawumia won in that constituency, the presidential.
Yeah.
Dr. Bawumia won there. But the parliamentary is where the problem.
They're really sending a message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should learn from this.
Yes, they should. Okay, guys, let's wrap up with Bono East and Ahafo. Bono East, Bono and Ahafo.
So let's put
Yeah.
all together. Okay.
Hey.
Wow. So that's there's still a few to.
I'm sure this is turn on off.
Let's
German South.
Okay, and then the other one.
I'm sure the other one will be the tunnel, the tunnel north, which is Dr. Gideon Boako.
Yeah, tunnel north.
Yes, Dr. Gideon Boako's area.
I was expecting him to lose.
Really? Why so?
Because they were losing both tunnel north and tunnel south.
Okay.
And I think for him, we believe that Prempeh people were undermining him. Well, the bitterness of the primary has spilled over into the elections. So he's lucky he survived it.
Yeah, and how did he perform? He did well.
He did well. Looking at 21,000 and 17,000.
Not bad at all.
In the last election, Frida Prempeh, who was in a member of parliament, I think 2020, she did around 25,000, 26,000.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it has reduced.
He's not done
it has
bad.
reduced.
So out of this 6 in Ahafo, they have only 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I said that if Muhammad wins, if NDC wins the seats in the Bono, then they'll take Bono. In fact, I was expecting them to split 3-3, but then the weight of the areas Muhammad was winning could give him Ahafo.
Yeah.
He went above that number, and it's just ridiculous for Bono.
Okay. Let's see the picture again of the 3 of them together.
The 3 constituencies.
The 3.
The three Bono regions, I guess. So Ahafo, Bono,
and Bono East.
I remember I spoke
to
the,
Bono East has this completely.
Yeah.
What's happened here? It's the German South.
So their results is in dispute. Is in dispute. The same constituency again.
They shouldn't kill anybody.
The results is in dispute. It's one of the results the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also in dispute. The same office and the rest.
I think the NDC guys got it right because I remember I spoke to Infum and the NDC and the MPP's secretaries in the regions. I've forgotten the positions, but the guy predicted that they were taking about 90% of the seats in those 3 regions. The NDC guy.
Bono, for some reason, you see, as I mentioned, the average polling data from that region was looking pretty bad.
Yeah.
You put Bono East and Ahafo, the average. But when you take a snapshot in the last 2 weeks, then MPP appeared to be doing well. Yeah. And I think that was a noise in the poll. It didn't actually reflect what was going on.
Wow. All right, we have to leave it here. Tomorrow we'll continue.
Heaviest defeat in any election. Apart from 96.
Yeah, apart from 96.
It's the biggest defeat for the MPP.
The biggest.
All right,
reason why they should reset and come back.
Sure. Thank you so much. Musa Dankwa, lead pollster and head of global research at Global Info Analytics, and Samiri Afi here with us at Channel 1 TV as well as City 97.3 FM. Tomorrow we'll come your way again with situation. We'll still crunch the numbers and bring you all the developments around after the 2024 polls. You want to stay with us. My name is Vivian Kailoko. We'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you.